Do you ever wonder how great leaders in the community make things happen? When they encounter new, unexpected challenges like a pandemic, how do they continue to successfully make an impact? Welcome to That Sounds Terrific, the podcast that connects you with these amazing people. Get insights on what they do to meet their goals, find out how you can help them in their mission, and learn their methods so you can be more successful at what you do. Welcome to That Sounds Terrific with host Nick Koziol.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of That Sounds Terrific. Joining me today is another terrific guest in Ryan Jennings. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Yeah, hey, great to be here.
And you have a really cool service called Sweetpea Plant-Based Kitchen, right? And I'm just really excited to learn more about what this is and kind of share it with our listeners. So why don't you just start with a little bit about yourself and kind of like a little bit about your company.
Sure. So, my background's in sort of fine dining and hospitality. So I've been a chef for most of my professional career. I started cooking at about 15 years old. So that means that, goodness, I've been doing it for 25 years, if you can believe it. I went to the French Culinary Institute in New York. So my background is in French cuisine. And, that was a tremendous experience. The reason I went there was because some of my heroes were the deans. So Jacques Pepin, Andre Soltner of Lutèce, Alain Seac of Le Cirque, Jacques Torres, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with from the baking cooking show that he was on. And, so like Jacques Pepin taught me how to cook an omelet. And, Andre Soltner used my bread knife to hack himself off a piece of baguette to try one of the dishes that we prepared. And, it's just a tremendous experience. And I got to work, alongside those folks. We got to volunteer to help some of the charities that they worked with. And, it's a unique culinary school because it's a trade school, so you're not taking math. Mm-hmm. You're learning how to cook, and for the first half, you're doing you're working in the kitchen, but then for the second half, you're working in a restaurant. So it does prepare you for that sort of work. Mm-hmm. And after school, I bounced around a little bit in New York. And then returned to Rochester, where I grew up, originally from New York City, but grew up here. Mm-hmm. My first job back here was working at the Rio Bamba, which at the time was a restaurant that had been, it's still a landmark. I believe it's called the Ox and Stone now, but it had been in business for about 50 years. Mm-hmm. The chef there, Jay Cohen, had worked at Boulay in New York. So it was a great introduction to the Rochester culinary scene, and I got to work through all the stations of the kitchen and eventually became the sous chef before moving on to the Max Restaurant Group, where I worked in two different times. First as the sous chef and chef de cuisine, and later coming back as the corporate executive chef. So I ran operations for all of the properties, which at that time included Max Amusement Place, Max Chop House, Max Market, the Inn on the Lake, several other places. We were the principal caterer for the Xerox International Jazz Festival. So we were cooking for thousands of people a day for that.
Wow.
On top of all the different services in all those kitchens. But so in between my two stretches at Max, my first executive chef job was at a restaurant that was initially called Farm Fresh Kitchen and then was later rebranded as Coppergrass Bistro. And that's where I met my partner in Sweet Pea, Mike Linehan. He just cold called me one as I was walking into work. And asked if I was interested in an opportunity. He was opening a new restaurant, and we hit it off quickly and launched that restaurant. We did it in 2008, which wasn't the best time to spend a ton of money on a fine dining restaurant. but people loved it, and we were very busy, and it just, unfortunately it didn't work out. And that's, that iteration of it, but it was where Mike and I met and became friends and business associates. But after I went back to Max, I mean, the work-life balance thing for a professional chef, running, a multi-unit, concept restaurant group is not great.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I think I had like 5 days off, maybe my last year at Max. While I was gone, the company had sort of transformed into this multi-unit venture, but it also essentially became an events business. So in addition to the Rochester International Jazz Festival, we were executing over 900 events a year. So those were things as small as 20-person tasting menus in people's homes or at the restaurants, anywhere up to 700 or 800 folks for larger parties. 2 of the venues are on University of Rochester properties. So Eastman Place is in the Miller Center, and Max at the gallery was in the Memorial Art Gallery. So that was a big part of it as well.
Yeah, so you said 900 events a year?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is, and it requires a huge amount of coordination. And I'll also say, we didn't have as much more staff than when I was there the first round, when we were just a 2 or 3 outfit shop. So we really I learned to do a little, and
you got 5 days off, so you're all set. You're good.
Yeah, a year.
Jeez. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I also had a young child at the time who's now 16, so it didn't really lend itself to that. So, oh God. So one day my daughter said that she was sick and she wanted to stay home from school. So I called into work and got everything situated, and I got home, and I realized pretty quickly that she wasn't sick. She just wanted me to be home. And not long after that, my folks had come to town, I think maybe to celebrate my birthday or something like that, and have been, calling me about it for months. And I showed up and had to go back to work, so I dropped off my daughter, and must have looked like a maniac. And my mom wrote me a letter, and there's a bunch of things in there, and all of it nice, but the one thing that always stuck out to me from it was, you look too tired to be angry about what's happening to you. And it was a big wake-up call. So the next day I went in and gave my notice, so I served out my 6 or 8 weeks there of notice, and started a private chef company called Chef at Large. During that time, I'd gotten sort of a following, and there had been a bunch of clients at the restaurant who were interested in having parties at their home or having dinners catered there. So I just kind of hit the ground running with that, and it provided a little bit more work-life balance. And I was actually able to do that for about 5 years. And one of those clients was Mike, my partner at Sweetpea, and his family. So after a few years, Mike is a foodie, a gourmand, somebody who's always enjoyed eating in nice restaurants, always liked all sorts of different things. But as the result of all of that delightful food, he's somebody who struggled with his weight and with his health. He was in his approaching 40, 2 young kids, and he wanted to be there for them. And he had a friend who was in a similar spot, who was going to have heart surgery as a result. And this friend went to a doctor, got a second opinion, and this doctor told him, if you switch to a whole food plant-based diet, you'll be able to avoid this surgery and live a happier, healthier life. And
Mhm.
Mike thought this was crazy. His family is involved in the healthcare business. He's seen plenty of doctors, and nobody had ever told him this. So it really got his attention, but at the same time, he didn't know what they were talking about. So he told his friend, "It's like, just get the surgery. I mean, you got kids." And thankfully, this guy didn't listen to him. And after 6 months, the blockage in the heart had reduced to the point where he didn't need the surgery. He started losing weight. He was feeling better. And, this really got Mike's attention. So he took a 10-day challenge himself to eat just whole foods, just plants. And he felt great. On the 8th day, somebody who struggled with, inflammation, soreness, woke up in the morning feeling great. And he couldn't, forget that that's how he felt. And even though, he was still wanted to eat pizza and chicken parm and everything, he decided to give it a shot. And so after, he kind of read voraciously about it, took the eCornell program with Dr. Tom Campbell and his wife, Erin, read all the books about it, watched the movies, the Game Changers, the Forks Over Knives, all those sorts of things, and just really filled his head up with all the information that he could possibly get about it. He just wasn't really enjoying the things he was eating.
Mhm.
And so that's where we kind of reconnected on that front. He asked me to start preparing some things for him that he would like to eat. And over the course of about 6 months, I was cooking for him and his family, and we came up with a bunch of dishes that we thought we'd like to share with people, and we'd like to share those results with folks. And that's really where Sweetpea was born. So that was in October of 2018 that we formed the company, and in March of 2019, we launched the business. So at first that was, just selling the whole food plant-based meals through our website. And then we moved on to expand the business in a few other ways. And so we just a couple of weeks ago celebrated our 5-year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations on that. I mean, sounds like a really cool story, like from, from start to finish. Yeah, I've had a friend that actually had, missed pretty much every holiday, right? Because her husband's a chef, and no Valentine's Day because he's at the restaurant, Christmas at the restaurant. So I mean, I just commend you for sticking with it as long as you have, but I love what you sort of have now like gone to, right? You're still, I take it you love to cook still,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? So now you've
Do it
got,
every day, do it at home.
yeah, it's awesome. So, and my son, actually, my 10-year-old son is very into cooking. He calls it creating.
Mhm.
So, and it actually is pretty remarkable because some of the things he's put together, I'm like, that's not going to work. And then I'm like, all right, I'll let him try. And it does.
Yeah.
So he's got a very interesting palate, let's say. So I've talked to him about some of the things you were mentioning. I used to do events for a college. We go to the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, and I've seen what those students go through, like, just basically chopping onions for hours on end and stuff like that until they're perfect. And so I can't imagine going to New York City and being taught by all those famous chefs the way that you were. So sounds
Yeah.
like an amazing journey.
It was kind of a dream for me, though. I mean, my parents met working in a restaurant. It's called Michael's on John Street. It actually became Leal, which was where Anthony Bourdain, rest his soul, there came to fame. So I guess it's a little bit of, in the blood for me. They both
Mhm.
worked in restaurants a long time before, my mom ended up becoming an academic.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, I remember watching cooking shows when I was a kid and watching, the Master Chef series and seeing Andre Soltner. I mean, I made my dad make this frozen raspberry souffle cake for me when I was like 12 or something like that. He wasn't much of a pastry chef, but it was cool. It came full circle because when I went back, I learned how to make it myself from them. So yeah, I loved it. It was hard, and it required a lot of hard work and early mornings and late nights, but it prepares you for what
Mhm.
the life of a chef typically is.
Yeah.
We've tried to do something different with Sweet Pea. Everybody who works in the kitchen with me here is a restaurant expat like myself,
Mhm.
and many of them I've worked with for Jarrett, who works here, has worked with me for 15 years through all of those different places that I described. And, part of what we wanted to do with this company, the mission was to make a whole food plant-based lifestyle accessible for everyone, but we also wanted to make a sustainable lifestyle possible for people who wanted to work in this industry. So it's been sort of a guiding light for us as we've built the business, to make sure that we're able to pay people a living wage, give them decent working hours, and provide
Yeah.
them an atmosphere where they can really thrive and grow and not get burnt out.
I love that. I love that it's both sides, that you're thinking about your employees, but you're also thinking about your customer. You know, I connect with a lot of the things you were talking about with your co-founder, just because, I'm a little heavy. I've got aches and pains. I've got arthritis and inflammation and all that stuff. Had a couple different guests on the show talking about those topics, and this isn't something that's come up. So as far as, I mean, diet is always something that people say are important, but the plant-based diet thing, it's not something I've heard of either. So how does it all work? Like, okay, so you said you have a couple different sort of things that you have started, right? But why don't you tell us a little bit more about, how we can get this delicious food? Where can we go?
Yeah, so it's all through our website, sweetpeaplantbased.com. Right now, we're servicing the greater Rochester area. We offer pickup and home delivery within a 40-mile radius of our kitchen here on Culver Road in Rochester. We have a fairly expansive menu and run through 4 to 6 weeks of different menu cycles. They come online every week on Thursday, and folks just go to the website and choose the things they like. We offer everything a la carte. There's no order minimum. And in addition to that, we also offer, subscription service so people can just get things coming to them each week.
Mhm. Very cool, very cool. So are there other things like, do you do stuff like the Uber Eats and all that other things, or is it all throughout your?
Yeah, no, we've kept it all internal.
Mhm.
That idea has been brought to, I mean, they call
All the time, I'm sure.
all the time. They've got a dedicated sales force for all of that, but we want to keep our eye on everything.
Yeah.
Keeping the quality up and making sure that we're connected with our customers is very important to us. And also going back to the sort of work-life balance thing for our team, we're able to give them a 4-day work week. And if we were to use a DoorDash or an Uber Eats or Grubhub or one of those sorts of things, we need to have folks here on demand for those orders.
Mhm.
So, our business model and our operations model allows us to do exactly what we need to do when we need to do it and keep everything fresh and out the door. So we take orders up until Wednesday. On Thursday morning, I'm in here first thing. We go through all the orders. That's when the first orders are placed for the week. So we pride ourselves in sourcing as much locally as we can. So through partnerships with folks like Regional Access in Trumansburg, we're connected with over 180 different farm partners and vendors throughout New York State. And we're able to source About 60% of what we use to make our meals within New York State. And then the remainder comes from vendors that operate here.
Mhm.
I often joke that, like, if we only ate what we made in New York State, then it would be a lot of beets and potatoes for most of the year.
Yeah.
But so then orders start coming in. Thursdays, just basic preparations of things that are going to be reheated, like sauce work, stocks and things like that. And then we kind of furiously prepare Friday into Saturday to get everything packaged up, and it all goes out Sunday morning. So it's a pretty lean, efficient operation here that is all sort of geared around getting our customers the freshest possible product that's delicious.
Yeah, that sounds great, man. So what's next? I mean, you're a growing business. You've been around for 5 years. It sounds like you're really just getting into your full out rhythm, right? So what's for the future?
Yeah, so in the past couple of years, we've been working on a shipping model, one where we would be able to send our meals first throughout New York State and surrounding states, and then hopefully going nationally. But and we were able to do that because we were fortunate enough to win a prize in the 2022 Grow New York competition,
Mhm.
which great food and ag startup competition here in New York State. Every year, companies from around the world apply, and they select 20 finalists. We'd applied 3 times in total, and on the third shot, we were selected as one of the finalists and went on to win one of the $250,000 prizes. And that allowed us to sort of flesh out that shipping model and prepare to launch that. Near the end of last year, we kind of realized that the economics of it had changed quite a bit since when we began planning for it. I think everybody's kind of familiar with the Blue Aprons, the Sun Baskets, companies like that. And also a New York State grown business, Real Eats, which unfortunately last year went out of business after growing very quickly. They were the original Grow New York winner. And all of these things were kind of signs for us that perhaps we needed to change course. And so we made that decision at the beginning of this year to sort of double down on the local meal delivery service and look for other markets where we can duplicate it. We know how to run this kitchen. We know how to get food. We know the distribution model. We've got the packaging, all sorts of all sorted out. So I think that's going to be a great avenue for growth for us in the future. Picking up our model and putting it in different places. We've also over this period of time developed over 250 different recipes, and they're all unique to our company, to our brand. And just as like you mentioned, like you never really heard about this sort of way of eating, and it's new for a lot of people, even though plant-based foods in general is an exploding market sector. So we see like CPG items as another potential source of growth for us. We've developed these wonderful fresh granola bars that we're looking to. We've begun packaging them here, and they're you can find them in some local gyms and small retailers. But we think that that's a great a possibility for shipping, and we're also preparing to bottle our sauces and also some soups to be in retailers and also for shipping. One of the other winners in 2022 of Grow New York was a company in Bergen, New York here called Craft Cannery, and the CEO, Paulie Guglielmo, and I are working on a project there, so we'll be able to get our sauces out there soon. So between yeah, getting into the CPG racket and the retail markets, in addition to finding places where we can expand and recreate our model, you know, I'm confident that we can continue to grow the business in a sustainable way and, contribute to these different communities.
Very cool. So are you talking about just expanding and kind of popping new companies out in different cities, or are you talking about franchising? Like, what's the model there?
Yeah, the plan is not to franchise right now. Just adding new locations so we can service different areas
Okay.
rather than the shipping model, which just sort of explodes all of your fixed costs, right?
Yeah.
So, you go from, cost X amount to prepare this meal and put it in a package, you get it to somebody, then you're adding all sorts of equipment to that. You're adding
Yeah.
the overnight shipping costs, keeping everything cold. So
Yeah.
it's and these costs have just gone up over the past years, like everything else.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
Um,
So locally sourced, more locally,
yeah,
more
and this way,
clients. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so like if we were going to be shipping to California, people in California want to eat food from California. They
Right.
grow the most amazing produce in the country. So, I think it's beneficial for us and for potential new markets to set up shop there, to learn about the area, learn about the people, take advantage of, places in the country where they're growing amazing produce and and grow that way.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think, and you're also pushing into their economy too. So you're helping, local farmers. I mean, yeah, in New York, it's potatoes and corn and certain times of the year.
There's certain times of the year. I mean, it
Yeah,
all gets grown during the season, but then, I mean, we have a very unique opportunity living in the Finger Lakes region to
sure.
access some of the most incredible produce in the country. I mean, I've been working with this one small farm in Ontario, Full Moon Farm, and Patty and Steve, they only supply to a few restaurants and to Sweet Pea, and they grow just some of the most beautiful produce that you've ever seen, like better than anything at any farmer's market, just tastes incredible. And so building those relationships with folks is core to our vision here at Sweet Pea. And we're looking to do it in other areas when we're ready to make that step.
Awesome. So where did the name come from? Just out of curiosity.
The aforementioned young child.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
So I called my daughter Sweet Pea when she was younger. She doesn't go for that anymore, but
No? Do you need me to? Oh, we might have to cut that out then, huh? If she listens.
no, she knows. She knows. She knows.
Well,
And
that's
she
cool.
likes it. She
That's
likes
awesome.
it.
That's awesome. It's so awesome to name something after your daughter. It kind of continues on. So cool.
Yeah, it's all for her,
So is she involved in the business now, or is she off on
Well, she's just getting to working age here, so we'll see. She's hung around the place and helped us out from time to time.
Very
But
cool.
yeah, she's got a lot going on. She's big into to drama at school, and next year it's her senior year, so she'll be preparing for college, and
Yep.
got a lot to do, but we'll see. She's gonna have to get a summer job. It might be here.
Keep it in the family too. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we have one going off to college next year, so we're we're we're, we're kind of in the same vein there. So, um, yeah. So we've talked about we've talked about what you've done, where you're kind of going. Aside from the obvious of like getting customers, like what are some things that maybe some of our listeners can kind of help with, like, or what are some questions you might be able to answer for them that you get frequently asked about Sweet Pea?
Yeah, so I mean, outside of just the basic like mechanics of the business, there's a lot that people don't know yet about plant-based eating. There they're worried about cutting out the sort of staples of the standard American diet, the meat, fish, oil, dairy, all of these sorts of things. Where am I going to get my protein is something we hear all the time. And I'm just like, I have to share with them. I was like, there's protein in beans, there's protein in broccoli, there's protein in tofu and lentils and all these different things that we use. And, a big part of what we try to do is meet people where they are. We don't expect that everybody's going to be 100% whole food plant-based, especially when people are in relatively good health. But what we try to stress is that, just making a few more healthy choices every week is going to be a great step in the right direction for you and for your family. So many of our clients just order their lunches for the week. Some folks, we cook everything that they eat. Our best customer, Barbara, who anybody who's seen our TV ads or anything has heard her story. But Barbara's been with us for over 4 years now, and she's gotten every meal from us in that time. And she's somebody who is in her 70s, who is able to drop over 50 pounds, which is almost unheard of at that stage in life, off medications and just living her best life. So
amazing.
I encourage anybody who's interested to try it for 10 days. That's what Mike did. And that's, we host 10-day challenges throughout the year. It really gives you an opportunity to understand how your body is going to feel after eating this way. I think once you understand that, it's kind of hard to go back. Maybe not 100%, but at least a portion of it.
Yeah. No, I can see that. And, even just replacing some of the bad choices that I do during the week with one good fresh meal, I think will have its advantages. So,
and they're ready, and all you got to do is heat it up.
Yep.
And it's there for you. Most everything we do freezes well, with the exception of, certain things that, that's mostly common sense stuff, lettuces and salad, those kinds of things. But, I think, we're trying to provide a service whose core mission is to just give people the opportunity to be happier and healthier. So anything we can do along that front, I think we're winning.
That's terrific, Ryan. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you definitely need to share?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's my stumper question.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I guess hasn't come up is our participation in something called the Good Life Challenge. It's something that along with these sort of 10-day challenges, it just finished up in January, but we're looking to make it a quarterly event. It was started by former Victor high school teacher and his wife, Doug Schmidt and Sherry. He was somebody, again, same story, overweight, had a bunch of health problems, and then had a horrific heart attack. And thankfully survived. And afterward, he went on a whole food plant-based diet, has been on it ever since, lost over 50 pounds, got off blood pressure medication, got off, no longer suffering from type 2 diabetes, the whole nine. And so he started this challenge to try to get some folks in school alongside it. And then after, it just kind of kept building every year, until he began a partnership with Smola Consulting here in Rochester, another local business that helps their healthcare broker and also helps facilitate wellness dollars for those healthcare programs. So they brought the Good Life Challenge to all the Finger Lakes area schools, as well as the Steuben area schools. And so we provide support for that, and actually took over facilitating the challenge, not this past season, but the one before. So I think folks should look out for it. We'll have an announcement soon about other ones going out throughout the year. But yeah, it's just a great opportunity to get kind of a jump start on your journey to health. We offer discounts, then you get sort of like daily emails with more information about plant-based lifestyle and encouragement there. So we'll be launching a new one hopefully for summer, and then you'll be able to come back every few months for those.
Very cool. That sounds like a great challenge to be a part of. So, urge my listeners to obviously check out the Good Life Challenge, but more importantly, just challenge yourself to trying some of this great food from Ryan Jennings and Sweet Pea. We'll put all of those links in the episode notes. You can just very easily go to their website. But Ryan, thank you so much. You've been a terrific guest.
Yeah, Nick, thanks so much for having me. This was a blast.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of That Sounds Terrific. Don't forget to check out the show notes and our website at thatsoundsterrific.com to find the contact information and the best ways to volunteer with the organizations that we feature. If you know someone that is doing terrific things and think they should be featured in a future episode, be sure to email us their name, contact info, and short description of what they're doing at thatsoundsterrific@gmail.com. If you like our show, give us a 5-star rating and give us some social media love by liking our Facebook page, That Sounds Terrific. Follow us on Twitter at Sounds Terrific too, and Instagram at Sounds Terrific. We love hearing your feedback on how to make our show sound even more terrific. Till next time.